by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here. I mean, we just don't know where she is.
Now, this next part is why this DC Sniveler went viral. And this is this is gold, because DC here, he finds out that his J for Genius plan has just come undone because the cops have found the body, or the torso, in the rubbish. Now, DC doesn't know this at the moment, but he's about to, and it's his reaction that somewhat makes him look suspicious. Anyways, this is pure DC gold, especially for someone who has no emotional ties to Lauren at all, like not a close friend or a companion or someone that she caught up with all the time. No emotional attachment at all. And watch this.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
It's pure gold, eh? It's pure gold. Oh, don't worry, because old Snivels, no, he doesn't get out of there. No, he comes back and actually starts speaking to the newscaster. Now watch this genius act like just a little...
I don't know anyone that would want to hurt her. She was as nice a person as there is.
Now here's something that I'll teach you in this episode. If you're not a true crimer and you're just come along to True Crime Now, here's something that I learned from a guy called Robert Ressler and his guys at a place called the FBI, and they used to hang out in a place called Quantico. I would say that about 90% of the stuff that I know when it comes to the psychosis and killers, spree killers, and other forms of really pathetic people, all comes from those guys. The BSU boys, as they call it. Like, I've been studying them for decades. The Behavioral Science Unit at Quantico. It's gold. So this is what I'll teach you that I got taught, and that is, in this circumstance, that right now, DC here, old Sniveler, this is called imitation. You see, he's imitating what he believes would be the normal human response to hearing such news and how that news would affect you as a person. This is what this genius believes that he should imitate right now in front of those cameras. You'll learn all that stuff and a whole bunch more if you do a bit of study on the BSU boys, and because that is exactly what he's doing. Because genius here, these sorts of things, they don't have a conscience. As you'll hear many a time that the sociopaths and the psychopaths, that they don't have this conscious thought, they don't have a conscious guilt. And that's true, that's part of it. But away with all that psychobabble and all that kind of crap. Right now in this event, that's what this DC is doing. Sniveler is imitating what he thinks a human should be like, and that's why when you look at it you think, oh God, that's one of the reasons why you DCs really are dumb criminals. Anyways, that's the lesson at this point of this episode on this video. That's a little lesson from the BSU boys through me to you. Anyway, on with the show.
Studying for the bar?
Yeah, no one had seen her since Saturday because we all just,
right.
And she was doing the online version of it.
You all studied together though?
You see, that's a good question, eh? Do you all study together to be able to see how close they are, say as friends or whatever it is? Because when you're at university, you do. Friends do study together. Even loose friends study together, all roughly at the same time, because exams are roughly at the same time. So genius here says no, which makes you think, well, then how do you know so much about her? Oh, I know. It's because you're a bloody stalker psycho. You're a bloody stalker psycho DC.
We were in, there's two different people, there's two companies that provide it. Kaplan provides it and Barbary provides it. I signed up with Barbary and I've been doing the lectures that they have in the mornings. She was doing the Kaplan online, so I hardly ever saw her. I would see her like go out running, but
What time would you go out running?
I don't even know when.
Was it at night or morning?
I saw her like midday.
Oh God, he knows, he knows exactly when she went out jogging. He knows where she went out jogging and how long it took her, because he's been stalking her in his fantasy world, waiting for his next door neighbor to make moves on him. And that is all part of the psychosis of these fantasists. And they are so incredibly dumb that they just stand out from the rest of the criminals out there, like just fucking geniuses. Please, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do, because this is what we do at this channel. We go find these DCs and then we go kick them really hard, and they're goddamn nuts. They want to be famous? Well, we'll make them famous. Just not quite in the way that they thought they would be. Not at all. Anyways, on with the show.
A couple weeks ago, that was the last time I saw her, was coming back from the bar prep on the main campus, because we got moved over there for a week or two.
But she normally would run. That was the
routine she ran all the time. She had a group that she would go running with.
Yeah, it's Goldie. For someone who's not meant to know her that well, he sure as hell seems to know exactly what she does every day, every week.
Do you know if she was like, where is she from? Is she from Maryland?
Yeah, she's from up in Maryland.
I'll just put this on you so we can hear you. Is that all right?
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Here, and you can just hold on. Thank you.
Yeah, she's from Maryland.
Yeah, she was from up in Maryland. All her family was there, as far as I know.
What's going on in your mind right now? Like, what are you
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah, I'll have a shot at that, eh? I'll have a shot at what this DC is thinking right about now. And I think he's thinking he's a genius, and he just has to act like this, and he's still, in his fantasy world, going to be able to get away with it.
Why would anyone do this?
Didn't hear anything?
No.
Now, here's something I do whenever I see a DC doing something like this, like giving an interview on TV and then imitating what it is that they think that they should be acting like. Because what you should do is put in your mind just the thought that within the last 24 hours, this creature has just brutally murdered a beautiful young wahine and then dismembered her in a bathtub and put her into little plastic bags and throw away in the rubbish. That's what this thing, this DC sniveler, has done within the last 24 hours, and here he is here acting like this.
I just heard something. Maybe I could have helped.
Okay, don't worry.
Yep, no emotional tie whatsoever, and yet this is Sniveler's reaction. It's genius. Now, he does go on for a bit, but he is bloody boring because he's a DC. But anyways, this is what made him famous. This interview that he gave and his reaction is why this clown Sniveler went viral. Gold. So anyways, back to the back. Now, you see, the cops see this interview and think, well, that's a bit fucking odd. And the second thing is, they're pissed because old Sniveler just keeps on bellowing out informations that these cops don't want anyone to know. Anyways, after the cops see this interview, the cops go and grab old Snivels and say, hey, DC, can we go check your flat again, mate? And DC goes, yeah, okay, as long as I come with. So the police do. But this time the cops bring a dog with a really big nose, as big as DC's hairdo. So they get to the apartment and they see a box of Joes, and the cops go, "Hey, I thought you said you were a virgin." And old DC's genius kicks in and he says, "Hey, look, I never lied to you. Those aren't mine. I break into other people's apartments and steal them. I'm not a liar." So the cop's reply is, "You're quite a genius there, DC." Now, here's something that sparked the old cop's interest, is that before they get to DC's apartment, old DC tells them, "Hey, I might have stepped in something dead. So the old dog with the big nose, he may react to that. So I just want to let you guys know that if the dog with the big nose does react, that's probably the reason why." And once again, J for exactly. So back to the dog with the big nose. And you see, the old police pooch, he does pick up the smell of death at DC's and at Lauren's. But even better, old Nosy tracks the scent of death to a laundry room, which happened to have a hacksaw in it with Lauren's blood on it. Again, that shows you the brilliance of this narcissistic fantasist. It's that not only didn't he get rid of a tool that he used upon Lauren to dismember her, but he put it back in a place and didn't even wash it. Now that, thinking that the cops would never be able to track that down, and that is the fantasy that these narcissistic pieces of filth live within. And in a way, thank God, because it is that they can catch them quick because of how brilliant these DCs actually are. Dumb criminal, baby. We don't make episodes on smart ones. So anyways, back to the story. Now here's something else to add on to that hacksaw and the dog with the big nose, is that when they're going through DC's room, they actually find a hacksaw blade packet. And it's the same hacksaw blades as the blade that was in the hacksaw that this idiot put back into the laundry room. Like I say, and I do not waste the power of that word when I do, a fucking genius, man. A fucking genius. So now, for sure, now the cops know that the Barbara Streisand lookalike is a fucking DC. So what they do is they book him for stealing all those Joes and shit and breaking into those apartments and being a goddamn pervert. So after they book him, they bring old Snivler back into the interview room, and this is where the magic begins, baby. For this interrogation, this interrogation is pure gold, and the reason is twofold. The first is the cops doing this interview are some good old boys from Georgia. Now these cops are not incompetent at being detectives at all. I'm not saying that. But what these detectives are not is the flashiest in interrogation skills. Now, this is probably because they usually are interrogating the same level and caliber of criminal. I'm actually doing another episode that was given to me by a sub-eye in regards to the same detectives that you see here in this episode, interrogating 4 of the dumbest DC gang that I have ever seen. Well, for a while anyway. But what you see in that is an example of the Reed technique and how that caliber of criminal, probably most likely the usual type of DC murderers, that those idiots just completely fold just through the techniques of Reed. But anyway, that's another episode on the channel coming up. But back to this one and these detectives and what happens in this interrogation of this DC Snivler. And what you'll see in this interrogation is that these cops, these detectives, are completely outgunned by one of the dumbest DCs there are. And I think a lot of that comes down to that they have nothing else that they add on or come up with over the, say, decades that they've been police officers and detectives on the homicide teams, that they don't have anything else but the bare basics and tactics for interrogating suspects of murder. And I think it's fucking bizarre and also pretty bloody lazy that if your job is to interrogate homicide suspects, that you would be the best at doing what you do and not just know the basics of interrogation. But that is just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Anyways, moving forward. So going into this interview, these cops aren't interrogating a normal person. Nope, they're interrogating a genius, a DC genius at that. Because the second thing that makes up the twofold is that old genius here comes up with a tactic that we call at this channel the I've had a stroke tactic. And he uses this tactic, the old I've had a stroke and my brain is shut down, all the way through his interrogation. And you'll see that the cops and everything they do, they have nothing at all that is shifting this DC from using that tactic, and that is why they fail. Now the old I've had a stroke tactic, it's actually quite simple, because all you do is act real simple. So you only give 1 or 2 word answers, so therefore you can't be like roped into saying something and then go back upon it later on. And the second thing is just act like you're spaced the fuck out, man. And this genius manages to pull off both of those perfectly. Now, in my opinion, the reason why old genius here, old Sniveler, has decided to use this tactic, the I've had a stroke tactic, is twofold again. The first one is that he has already thought of that in the future he wants to have this interview removed from the record, and he thinks that acting this way will give him the benefit to be able to do that. And secondly is that he is setting up some type of defense for him being insane. And this is why I believe that Sniveler here has chosen this particular tactic. Now here's something crazy for you, is that people, after viewing this second interrogation and seeing Sniveler use the I've had a stroke tactic, is that people actually believed that he was having a mental breakdown, that he had actually had some kind of a stroke, and the way he acts is a typical human reaction to being under so much stress. And it's like gold, because for that, all I ask them to do, if they say that this is a typical reaction of someone, is just merely point out to any other interrogation where the person accused is acting like this.
Well, why'd you tell the media everything? Do you need to see what you told the media today? Yes. It was on the 11 o'clock news. Well, I'm asking you. Tell me. I want to know.
I don't know where she is.
That ain't what you told the media. You didn't stand in front of that camera and say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Right? You buy all these weapons. Was you ever in the military?
No.
What do you need all these weapons for? Are you scared somebody's going to hurt you?
No.
What do you need all these weapons for?
Yeah, I told you, it's gold, eh? The I've had a stroke tactic. So what I want to do is to remove all doubt that this is just a natural thing that happens, is to play both of these interrogations side by side, well, the start of them anyway, and see how quickly that the cop catches on that something's afoot.
So long.
That's fine.
You know, I'm Detective Patterson. I took your statement a while ago in the Secretary's office. Yep. I just want to clarify some things about your statement. I asked you to come down here today because you're Lawrence's next door neighbor, right?
Yeah.
And anybody see you this weekend that you've been home?
I don't know of anyone that would have seen
I mean, you hadn't taken any trash out this weekend or anything?
Mm-hmm.
Where you been eating at?
I eat mainly in. I mean, I've got...
I mean, did you go to Kroger, the grocery store, or anything this weekend?
I stockpile is a habit of mine, so I have a bunch of food that I just eat off of.
All right. I just got to ask you a few questions. Okay. You came down earlier tonight, me and you talked, all right. You don't have any weapons on you, do you? What's wrong?
Wow, that didn't take long at all.
You know Detective Patterson, right?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Survival Houses, the stroke defense.
Do you remember? Put your hands up here. You remember us talking earlier today, right?
Yes.
You remember me earlier in the day?
Yes.
We came down here and talked a little bit, and then we left.
Yes.
Basically, go to a class.
Well, we have lectures typically in the morning. We have been having them over at the law school initially, but then the NCDC, the National Criminal Defense College, they came in and they took over the entire law school for a couple of weeks, and we got moved over to the main.
I mean, earlier today, me and you sit here and talk normal. What's going on with you now? Why are you acting like this? I need to know. Why all of a sudden you're acting like this?
I don't understand.
Okay.
And it's the answer that this cop gives that gives me pause for thought to think that they don't actually have anything past the read technique. Because what this cop does is he explains what he means about DC's behavior from interview 1, where that shows it, because you wouldn't be trying to explain it like you would be immediately attacking him on, you for a real prick, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, unbelievable. And that's what gave me pause for thought to think that these cops don't have anything else in the tank after the read techniques. Because surely you would have had a meeting beforehand, before you got in there, and you realize this is how he's acting, because obviously he just didn't turn that way in that room. He's got there, he had to get to the station, he had to get pulled out. They would have had junior officers moving in through the building, so they definitely would have interaction, and he would have been acting exactly the same as he is now. So you definitely know before you walk in that room what he's doing, and you've already worked out smoothly exactly the tactics you're going to use to smash this rotten egg. It's gold, because they don't.
Earlier today, we sat here and talked. But now you're acting like you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like, it's just my opinion, and you can have one that's completely the opposite. But for me, my opinion is that this isn't natural. This is not a natural reaction to being placed under stress. Instead, this is a tactic that genius here thinks is going to work. And he uses this tactic all the way through the Huckleberry Finn boys' interrogation. And that interrogation is pure gold, especially when you see all of the read techniques that are used, and these Huckleberry Finn boys just have nothing on this DC and his, oh God, I've had a stroke defense. And what's classic is, by the end of it, the Huckleberry Finn boys, they know their beat, and all they start to do is just abuse the shit out of DC Sniveler. It really is pure gold. And we cover that next week in the next episode, because yes, subway, unfortunately, I've run out of fucking time. Now, if you're a new viewer and this is the first video that you've seen and you've made it all the way through to here, then remember, please subscribe, because you don't want to miss out the shit that we get up to, because it's gold. So subscribe now. And kia ora subbies, kia ora my subscribers, or maybe you're just a viewer with curiosity. Welcome to the website, SafeBars New Zealand. For a lot of you, this will be the first time on the website, so make sure that after you finish up here in this overview of the Galleria, check out the other parts of the website. You can get to it anytime with the menu, okay? Sweet as. And make sure you do, because if you don't know about us, you don't know about the project SafeBars, then, well, you're in for a ride, because this is who we are, why we're here, and what we're doing. So, please use the menu afterwards and go check out the rest of the place. SafeBars New Zealand. Gotta love it. And make sure you save it in your favorites, because we have so much more coming down the pipeline. Now, if you're a member of the channel and this is the first time you're seeing this video, then as a sub-eye, you already have access to your Galleria, and those Gallerias are accessible through your great house. There's a link on the overview, the Galleria's overview page. So if you're a member, if you're a sub-eye, make sure you use that, because room 2 for you guys is accessible now. And now for the rest of you who aren't sub-I, but really should be, don't you think? Since you've just been given a goddamn Galleria. Well, almost anyway. Come on, man. You know if you're a sub-E, you know you're meant to be a sub-I of this channel, a member of the universe itself. So please have a think about it. Check it out from the menu, see what we're up to. Anyways, I rattled on enough. So please use this page and check out the rooms and see what's coming to you guys, to my guys. I shall give you the keys to the castle and you can go browse room 2. Okay. Kia ora, everyone. This is an introduction for you to the DC Universe Gallerias. The Galleria contains everything merch and I. You see, we don't call our merch merchandise, we call it merch and I. And why? Because you know, our merch has meaning. In some way or another, it contains a meaning and power and sometimes a sprinkle of magic. Now, our merch and I is all contained in the rooms of the Galleria. Each room is dedicated to its meaning and its reason for being here. In this brief of the Gallerias, I want to make sure all of you know about the Gallerias and what each Galleria contains. And for that, I have created the Galleria Overview. So please make sure that you learn about each of the rooms. Next week, I shall be giving access to our subscribers, our subbies, to the public Galleria, to the subbies Galleria, your guys Galleria, and then the public Galleria room 2 will be open for all of you. So please check out the Galleria Overview. That link is in the description below. And I shall see you next week for the official opening of the public Galleria, the subbies, my subbies Galleria. See you then.